I am sitting in my quiet kitchen on Christmas morning watching the snow fall outside while my 4-year-old daughter sleeps peacefully in her room. There is something about the silence of early morning that makes you think about family, about the people who are supposed to be there for you no matter what. I used to believe that my mother would always have my back. I was wrong. One text message, one refusal to help when I needed her most, changed everything I thought I knew about unconditional love. Before we dive into this story, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If you have ever felt like the forgotten child in your own family, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Stay until the end because what happened on Christmas Day still gives me chills when I think about it. My name is Ivy and I grew up in a small suburban neighborhood just outside Portland, Oregon. The kind of place where everyone knew their neighbors and kids played in the streets until the streetlights came on. From the outside, we looked like a normal family. But behind closed doors, things were far from perfect. My parents divorced when I was 12 years old. My sister Harper was 8 at the time. I still remember the day my father Richard packed his bags and drove away to Seattle. My mother Gloria stood in the doorway, not crying, just watching him leave with this cold expression on her face. That image has stayed with me for over 2 decades. After the divorce, my mother made it her mission to erase my father from our lives. She would say things like, "Your father never really loved you kids," or "He left because he did not want the responsibility anymore." I was young and confused and I believed her. When my father tried to call, my mother would intercept the phone. When letters arrived, she would hide them. By the time I was 16, I had completely lost contact with him. I thought he had given up on me. I thought he did not care. My mother worked an office job that paid decently but not great. She always complained about money, always talked about how hard it was to raise 2 kids on her own. I felt guilty about that even as a teenager. I started working part-time at a grocery store when I was 15, bagging groceries and stocking shelves after school. Every penny I earned went toward my own expenses because I did not want to be a burden. But here is the thing that took me years to understand. While I was working to pay for my own clothes and school supplies, my sister Harper never had to lift a finger. My mother bought Harper designer jeans and new sneakers every season. Harper got a car for her 18th birthday, a used Honda Civic that my mother somehow found the money for. When I turned 18, I got a card with $20 inside. I told myself it did not matter. I told myself that Harper was younger, that she needed more attention. I made excuses for my mother because the alternative was too painful to accept. The alternative was admitting that my own mother loved my sister more than she loved me. When I graduated high school, I applied to Portland State University. I got accepted, and I was so proud. I went to my mother with the acceptance letter, expecting her to be happy for me. Instead, she sighed and said, "Ivy, I just do not have the money to help you with college. You are going to have to figure it out on your own." So I did. I took out student loans, worked 2 jobs, and barely slept for 4 years. I graduated with a degree in software engineering cum laude, while working 30 hours a week. I was exhausted but proud. I had done it without any help from anyone. 2 years after I started college, Harper decided she wanted to go to school too. But not just any school. She wanted to attend a private university in California, one that cost 3 times what my state school tuition was. And somehow, miraculously, my mother found the money. She took out loans, dipped into her retirement, did whatever it took to send Harper to that fancy school. Harper lasted 1 year. She dropped out, said college was not for her, and moved back home to live with my mother. She has been there ever since, bouncing between part-time jobs and long periods of unemployment. My mother has never once criticized her for this. Instead, she says things like, "Harper is still finding herself," or "Harper is more sensitive than you, Ivy. She needs more time." Meanwhile, I built a career. I worked my way up from junior developer to senior software engineer at a respected tech company in Portland. I met my wife Megan at a friend's barbecue 6 years ago. She was a nurse at a local hospital, kind and funny, and everything I never knew I needed. We got married 5 years ago and had our daughter Lily 3 years later. Even with my own family, my own life, I never stopped trying to earn my mother's love. When she complained about her rent being too high, I started paying it for her. $1,500 a month automatically transferred from my account to hers. When she mentioned that her electricity bills were getting out of control, I added those to my list. Then the water bill. Then her internet. Then I bought her health insurance because her job did not provide good coverage. All told, I was sending my mother $2,200 every single month. That is over $26,000 a year, money that could have gone toward my daughter's college fund, toward vacations with my wife, toward our future. But I sent it to my mother because I thought that was what a good son did. I thought maybe if I gave her enough, she would finally see me the way she saw Harper. My wife Megan questioned it sometimes. She would say, "Ivy, your mother never even says thank you. Does she know how much we sacrifice for her?" I would brush it off, tell her that family was family, that my mother had raised me and I owed her. Megan would get quiet and I knew she disagreed, but she loved me enough to let me make my own choices. Looking back, I was not being a good son. I was being a fool. December 20th started like any other winter morning. I was at my desk reviewing code for a big presentation I had scheduled for the following week. This presentation was important. My manager had hinted that a promotion to team lead was on the line, and I had spent months preparing. Everything was finally coming together. Then my phone rang. It was the hospital. Megan had been in a car accident on her way to work. A driver ran a red light and hit her car on the passenger side. She was alive, thank God, but her leg was badly broken. She needed surgery immediately. I left work without a second thought and rushed to the hospital. When I saw Megan lying in that bed, her face pale and her leg wrapped in temporary bandages, my heart shattered. She tried to smile when she saw me, tried to tell me she was okay, but I could see the pain in her eyes. The doctor explained that the surgery would take several hours and that Megan would need to stay in the hospital for at least 3 or 4 days. Recovery at home would take weeks. My mind immediately went to Lily. She was at daycare, but daycare closed at 6. I could not be in 2 places at once. I needed help. I needed family. I called my mother. I explained everything. Megan's accident, the surgery, the hospital stay. I told her I needed someone to watch Lily for just 2 or 3 days while I took care of my wife. I was not asking for money. I was not asking for anything unreasonable. I was asking my mother to spend time with her only grandchild during a family emergency. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then my mother said the words that changed everything. "I could not watch your kid right now, Ivy." I thought I had misheard her. "What do you mean, Mom? Megan is in the hospital. This is an emergency." My mother sighed like I was inconveniencing her. "Harper just broke up with her boyfriend. She is really upset, and I need to be here for her. You will figure it out, Ivy. You always do. You will figure it out. You always do." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. My mother was refusing to help me because my 30-year-old sister had broken up with her boyfriend, a boyfriend she had been dating for 3 months. Meanwhile, my wife was about to go into surgery, and my 4-year-old daughter needed someone to take care of her. I tried one more time. "Mom, please, I really need your help. Can Harper not handle this on her own for a few days, Ivy? Do not be selfish. Harper needs me. Your wife will be fine. You have always been the strong one in this family. I know you can handle it." I heard something in the background. Laughter. Harper's laughter. She did not sound devastated. She did not sound like someone who desperately needed her mother's support. She sounded like she was having a great time. I hung up without saying goodbye. For the next hour, I sat in the hospital waiting room trying to process what had just happened. My mother had chosen my sister's minor inconvenience over my genuine emergency. She had done it without hesitation, without even pretending to feel bad about it. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram, something I rarely did. I searched for Harper's profile and felt my stomach drop. There, posted just 2 hours earlier, was a photo of Harper and my mother at the mall. They were holding shopping bags, smiling at the camera. The caption read, "Retail therapy with mom. Best way to get over a breakup. Retail therapy." While I was begging for help while Megan was being prepped for surgery, my mother and sister were shopping. With my money, because every dollar my mother spent on Harper's retail therapy came from the $2,200 I sent her every month. I scrolled through Harper's profile and saw months of evidence. Spa days with mom. Fancy dinners with mom. Weekend trips with mom. All while my mother told me she was struggling financially, all while she accepted my money without a single word of gratitude. I had been funding their lifestyle. I had been paying for my own exclusion from the family. The next few days were a blur of exhaustion and heartbreak. I had to call my manager and explain that I could not do the presentation. I could hear the disappointment in his voice even though he tried to be understanding. The promotion I had worked toward for a year slipped through my fingers. I brought Lily to the hospital with me because I had no other choice. She was confused and scared, asking why Mommy was sleeping so much, why Mommy had a big bandage on her leg. I did my best to comfort her while also being there for Megan, but I was stretched impossibly thin. One night after Megan had fallen asleep and Lily was curled up on the small hospital sofa, I sat in the dark and thought about my life. I thought about all the years I had spent trying to earn my mother's approval, all the money I had sent, all the times I had made excuses for her behavior, all the times I had told myself that she loved me even when her actions said otherwise. I looked at my daughter, her small chest rising and falling with each breath, and I asked myself a question. If Lily needed me 20 years from now, would I ever refuse to help her? Would I ever choose someone else's minor problem over her emergency? The answer was so obvious it almost made me laugh. No. Never. Not in a million years. That was the moment I realized the truth. My mother did not love me the way a mother should love her child. Maybe she never had. And no amount of money, no amount of sacrifice was ever going to change that. I was done. On the morning of December 23rd, I made a decision that I should have made years ago. I sat down with my laptop and logged into my bank account. First, I canceled the automatic transfer for my mother's rent, $1,500 gone. Then I canceled the payment for her electricity. $120. Water bill. $60. Internet. $80. Finally, I called the insurance company and removed my mother from the health insurance plan I had been paying for. $440 a month. In total, I had just cut $2,200 from my monthly expenses. Money that would now go toward my own family, my own daughter, my own future. I picked up my phone and typed a message to my mother. I did not yell. I did not explain. I simply wrote, "You said I always figure it out. Time for you to do the same. You are on your own now." I hit send and put my phone down. For a moment, I felt nothing. Then slowly, a weight I had not even realized I was carrying began to lift from my shoulders. I had spent over a decade trying to buy my mother's love, and all it had gotten me was taken for granted. That was over now. 30 minutes later, my phone started buzzing. My mother was calling. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again, and again. Then the text messages started. "Ivy, what is going on? Why did my rent payment bounce? Ivy, answer your phone. This is not funny. How could you do this to your own mother? After everything I have done for you," I read that last message and almost laughed out loud. Everything she had done for me. What exactly was that? Choosing Harper over me at every opportunity, taking my money while treating me like an afterthought. Refusing to help when my wife was in the hospital. Harper texted me too. "You are so selfish, Ivy. Mom sacrificed everything for us, and this is how you repay her. You should be ashamed of yourself." I did not respond to any of them. I simply blocked both numbers and felt the peace wash over me. Megan was awake when I told her what I had done. Her leg was still in a cast and she was still in pain, but she reached out and took my hand. "I am proud of you," she said. "This should have happened years ago." I squeezed her hand and nodded. "I know. I am sorry it took me so long to see it." 2 days later, it was Christmas morning. Megan had been discharged from the hospital the day before, and we were finally home as a family. Her leg was in a cast, and she was confined to the couch, but she was smiling. Lily was bouncing around the living room, excited about the presents under the tree. I was in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. My mother and Harper certainly would not show up, not after I had blocked them. I walked to the door and opened it. Standing on my porch was a man I had not seen in 18 years. My father. Richard looked older than I remembered. His hair had gone gray and there were lines on his face that had not been there before. But his eyes were the same. kind and warm and filled with a sadness I could not quite understand. "Ivy," he said, his voice cracking slightly. "I know I have no right to be here, but I never stopped looking for you." I stood there frozen, unable to speak. 1,000 questions flooded my mind. Where had he been? Why had he stopped calling? Why had he abandoned me? Richard seemed to read my thoughts. "I know what your mother told you. That I did not want to be part of your life. That I gave up on you." "Ivy, none of that was true." He reached into the bag he was carrying and pulled out a cardboard box. "These are all the letters I sent you over the years. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time I thought about you. Your mother intercepted them. She changed your phone number and told me you did not want to hear from me. She told me that if I tried to contact you again, she would get a restraining order." I took the box with trembling hands. Inside were dozens of envelopes, all addressed to me in my father's handwriting. Letters from when I was 13, 14, 15. Letters from when I graduated high school, even though he had not known the exact date. Letters from every single year of my life that he had missed. "I hired a private investigator," Richard continued. "It took years, but I finally found your address. I have been working up the courage to come here for weeks. When I heard it was Christmas, I thought maybe it was a sign. I could not hold back the tears anymore. They streamed down my face as I looked at this man, my father, who had spent nearly 2 decades trying to find me while my mother told me he did not care. "Dad," I said the word, feeling strange and wonderful on my tongue. "Come inside. There is someone I want you to meet." I led him into the living room where Megan sat on the couch and Lily played with her new toys. Lily looked up at the stranger with curious eyes. "Daddy, who is this?" she asked. I knelt down beside her and smiled through my tears. "This is your grandpa, sweetheart. He has been waiting a very long time to meet you." The weeks after Christmas were a time of healing, not just for Megan's leg, but for wounds that had been festering inside me for most of my life. Richard and I spent hours talking, catching up on 18 years of missed moments. He told me about his struggles after the divorce, how he had fallen into a deep depression, lost his job, and spent years just trying to survive. By the time he got back on his feet, my mother had built an impenetrable wall between us. I showed him pictures of my wedding, which he had never known about. I told him about my career, my home, my life. He listened to everything with tears in his eyes, mourning all the milestones he had missed while celebrating the man I had become. "I am so proud of you, Ivy," he said one evening. "You did all of this without any help. You built a beautiful life." I thought about his words for a long time. He was right. I had built this life on my own, not because my mother had supported me, but in spite of the fact that she had not. My mother continued trying to contact me. She created new email addresses, called from different numbers, even showed up at my house once. I did not answer the door. Megan and I watched through the window as she stood on the porch looking lost and confused. Part of me felt a twinge of something, maybe pity, maybe sadness, but I did not let her in. Harper posted about me on social media, calling me ungrateful and cruel. Mutual acquaintances reached out asking what had happened, taking sides. I did not engage with any of it. My silence was more powerful than any argument I could have made. 3 months later, I got the promotion I thought I had lost. My manager called me into his office and told me that despite missing the December presentation, my work ethic and talent had not gone unnoticed. I was the new team lead, with a significant raise and more responsibility. I went home that night and held Megan and Lily close. My father had moved to Portland by then, renting an apartment just 15 minutes away. He came over for dinner twice a week and babysat Lily whenever we needed him. He was making up for lost time, and so was I. I learned something important through all of this. Family is not just about blood. Family is about the people who choose to be there for you, who support you without conditions, who love you, not for what you can give them, but simply for who you are. My mother never loved me that way. Maybe she was not capable of it, or maybe she just chose not to. Either way, I had spent too many years trying to earn something that was never going to be given. Letting go of that need was not easy. Some nights I still think about calling her, still wonder if things could be different. But then I look at my daughter, and I remember the promise I made to myself. In that hospital room, I will never let Lily feel the way I felt growing up. She will always know that she is loved completely and unconditionally. As for my mother and Harper, I do not hate them. Hatred takes too much energy, and I have better things to spend my energy on. I simply accept them for who they are and have removed them from my life. Maybe someday that will change. Maybe it will not. Either way, I am at peace with my decision. If you are watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, I want you to know something. It is okay to walk away from people who hurt you, even if those people are family. It is okay to stop giving to people who only take. It is okay to choose yourself. Sometimes the family you build is stronger than the family you were born into. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to cut off a family member for your own well-being? What would you have done in my situation? Drop a comment below and let us start a conversation. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you are not subscribed yet, join our community so you do not miss more stories like this one. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope that wherever you are, you have people in your life who love you the way you deserve to be loved. Take care of yourselves, and remember that you are worthy of real, unconditional love.